What's good, Lakers fast break? What's good, Clutch Talk family, Lakers Corner family? We live, we active. The end of this Mavericks game is still not over yet, and because of probably like NBA rights and whatnot, I can't show it. But it's 99-102, 51 seconds left. Dallas is up. Um, Pretty big time. I ain't gonna lie, pretty big time. Um, wow, that was a huge shot by Kyrie. That was a huge shot by Kyrie. Anybody that wants to come up in the chat, say anything, you know what I'm saying? You guys are more than welcome to let me know what you guys want to talk about in the chat, whether it's with this crazy Mavericks game or any other series. We do got a guest that's going to be joining us a little bit later. We're going to be getting into all things NBA. So can't wait, man. Can't wait. Can't wait. What's good, everybody? Everybody that's in here, finishing up this Oklahoma City Thunder and Mavericks game. Man, as a matter of fact, y'all let me know right now. Who do y'all got winning this series? Mavs, OKC. Who y'all got? It's 104.99 right now. At least my stream is 104.99 right now. Oh man, big time game, y'all. Big time games today, and then later today we do have the Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers, which has surprisingly been a good series. Uh oh. 21 seconds left. At least in my stream, 21 seconds left. Because I see here I'm on NBA.com, it says 10 seconds left. But mine has 19 seconds left on the game clock. So I'm a little bit behind, I guess, on my stream. What's good, Sean? How you doing, Sean? He said, I hope OKC wins, but Mavs will likely due to experience. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Oh, wow. Here we go. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, Sean, I'm right there with you. Honestly, I really want to see Oklahoma City Thunder win, but I do think that at the end of the day, it is going to be the Mavericks that are going to end up getting it, especially because like they already pulled one out in OKC, right? They won game two, and if you think about it, in game two, Kyrie didn't even have to really go off like that. It was really more PJ Washington, who had like 29 points. He had like 7 3-pointers. Luka did his thing, but they were able to win even with Kyrie having not being very aggressive on the offensive end. So can you imagine how they're gonna dominate even more? And I mean, you can't expect Kyrie to every night be that lackadaisical on the offensive end. Man, looks like Luka just got hurt. He's hurt holding his knee. Man, I hate how my stream is a little bit behind the NBA's. Let me see. Sean said, I trust Kyrie in the clutch more than anyone in OKC. Hey, I hear you because Kyrie has proven himself more in the clutch, but SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, probably was one of the most clutch players this year. I ain't gonna lie. He was the MVP, in my opinion, but Jokic got it. All right. 10 seconds. 101, 104. Let's see. Dallas Mavericks are up 104, 101, 7 seconds left. Who do y'all got in what, Sean? What about the Celtics and Cavs series? Who you got in that? Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. We are finishing in the Oklahoma City Thunder versus Dallas Mavericks game. 7 seconds left. Now it's over according to NBA.com. But my stream, it's not over yet. But if you're on NBA, then you already see what it is, man. Mavericks just won 105-101, taking the lead in this series 2-1. Big time. Sean, he said Celtics, unfortunately. Man, Sean, I feel you, brother. I feel you. I ain't gonna lie. I think that the Celtics have had such an easy road to the finals so far. I mean, at least in my opinion, you know, they had the Miami Heat without Jimmy Butler, without Terry Rozier. That's crazy. Yeah, the Mavericks won. Jay, what's good? What's good, Jay? Been a while. Yes, sir. But we back, man. Wanted to get on here, wanted to do a live. Y'all see what's happening, man. It's because I was sick. You see that exactly, man. Your boy was sick, but hey, man, the bounce back is real. For the longest, I was down and out, y'all, because I was so sick. But I'm back now. I'm glad to be here, Jay. And like I said, man, for everybody that missed in the beginning, we will have a guest joining us here shortly. We're going to be getting into really all things NBA from this series that we just, this game we just saw of the Dallas Mavericks versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll get into a little bit of some predictions of what we got coming up here with Celtics and Cavs. And then we'll also get into just the rest of the playoffs here, man. Let me see here. Man, oh man, let me see. He says, sorry to hear that, John. Man, appreciate you. Appreciate you, Sean. You know what, man? That's how it goes. So my little one actually got sick, and then she got me sick, and then it just becomes this cycle, man. If you got kids, you know what I'm talking about, man. But appreciate you, Sean. Appreciate you showing love. Said it better not be cool, bro. Talk to me, man. Talk to me, Jay. So who you got, Jay? Who you got in this Dallas and OKC series? Sean just said he believes it's gonna be Dallas because of their experience. And at the end of the day, I do agree. Partially because of experience, but partially also because they already snagged one up in OKC with Kyrie having not that much of an offensive production. So can you imagine, you know, what they're going to do throughout the series? And more on top of that, man, like these role players for Washington they've just been on fire, man. Josh Green, we got Josh Green, we got PJ Washington's been big, Derrick Jones Jr. has been big. Okay, sounds good. And let's see, Jay said, I want OKC to win, but Mavs got the advantage. Yeah, I definitely agree. The Mavericks do have the advantage. Why is it? Like, tell me, why do you think the Mavericks got the advantage, Jay? Like, what to you? Is it that same thing? I mean, Sean was talking about of experience, or is it more along the lines of because Kyrie didn't even have to have a big game 2, and they still end up getting the win. Oh, Blue Magic, appreciate you, my brother. I appreciate you, brother. You the GOAT. Everybody that's in here, man, is the GOAT, and I appreciate you guys, man. Like I said in the beginning, my fault. I haven't been able to do as many of these as I want. I've just been super sick, y'all. Kind of funny because like literally as soon as the Lakers got eliminated, I got crazy sick, and then I was just down for a little bit. But your boy is back, man. The bounce back is real. And Cool Bro said, Jay, you summoned him. He heard his name. He felt the presence of him being called, and he's like, I gotta make my way to the chat, man. The latest chat that we got, the latest live stream that we got. What's good, y'all? Let me see. She said, you got food poisoning. Took me out when I had it. No, I did not have food poisoning. I just got like sick. I had a runny nose, had a coffee. Coffee. I had a coughing, runny nose. It was all bad. I'm glad I didn't get food poisoning because I've had that in the past. But our guest is here, man. Our guest is here. My guy, Garrett. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Yo. I'm glad to be here. You know, obviously we've collabed a lot, but this is the first time on, I guess, this scene we've collabed. So pretty cool.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Appreciate you coming on, Garrett. And for everybody out there, man, want to make sure you guys stay up to date with everything that I got going on and Garrett's got going on. Garrett is another great content creator. Garrett also has NBA channel similar to Clutch Talk, to be honest, where it's like an NBA talk show format. He's always dropping great gems on there, and we got the Podfather in the house. Jared, okay.
I'm just fixing this for you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I got you. But no, you guys have fun.
Okay.
I just finished talking on the Dallas game on playback for the past 2.5 hours. They're done with me for the day.
They're okay. All right, sounds good. Well, it's good to see you anyway, though, Gerald.
Good to see you. Thanks, my friends. And
Yes.
support John's channels as well. Big shout out to him.
Yes. All right. So, like I was saying, you guys make sure you guys check out my guy Garrett's channel. Super Mario Hoops 24. Like I said, similar to Clutch Talk. Great NBA talk show format. And then I also got Lakers Corner. That's on YouTube. But man, let's go ahead and get into it. We got a good group amount of people in here, Garrett. So let's go ahead and start with, I guess, the most recent game that we just saw. We just saw the Dallas Mavericks take a 2-1 lead on Oklahoma City Thunder, beating the Oklahoma City Thunder. I believe it was 105-101. Give me some of your thoughts here, Garrett.
Well, my first thing is I feel like it's a pretty balanced series, I would say. I think like the star power aspect of it usually would favor the higher seed, but in this case, I think it favors Dallas. But then like the overall depth of OKC is kind of like what puts them, in the mix here. And then obviously like we just saw Dallas take the dub, but I feel like Luka really hasn't had, I guess, like a dominant performance. I feel like that's still something that's on the way. Kyrie, like he showed up in the second half, but I mean that's kind of been, I guess, the theme of the playoffs is like he will start off slow and then the second half he turns into like Curry or something, like 2016 regular season Curry or something like that. So and I think like obviously PJ Washington is playing out of his mind. Gafford, that's my guy. Lively, like they played big minutes. I just feel like while OKC has more depth, I think Dallas they have enough pieces alongside already a better like two-man tandem, because like OKC, it's like their tandem, obviously SGA, he's MVP caliber player, but also Jalen Williams, who I wouldn't say is maybe on Kyrie's level, but he's definitely super important. And I don't really know what's going to happen too, because I know he got hurt like late in the game today. So I don't know. It's not looking too great for OKC. They're going to have to like win, I think, the next game. They're going to have to steal one because Dallas still won. So they have to steal one to get it back. They don't want to be down 3-1 going back to OKC.
Yeah, no, I am right there with you, brother. Yeah, it usually, you would be looking at a number 1 seed versus a number 5 seed, and you would feel you'd feel good about, or pretty confident about going with that number 1 seed. But I think just in this situation with, Sean here, he was in the chat earlier. He was mentioning about the experience that the Dallas Mavericks had over the Oklahoma City Thunder. But also, you just hit the nail on the head, brother, when you said the Dallas Mavericks were able to steal one in Oklahoma City Thunder. And I mean, as we all know, it's so hard playing in that rowdy crowd in OKC, and they're able to steal one. And in that game too, Kyrie didn't even have to have a big game. Like Kyrie, he's been locking in defensively. He can, be this facilitator. He could be this playmaker. But at the end of the day, I think we can all agree that Kyrie is a bucket getter. Like he goes and gets buckets. That's what he does best. And for them to be able to steal a game in Oklahoma with Kyrie not even having to be what he truly is at heart, man, that was so big. And I think that honestly changes the entire series. And I also got to give credit to, PJ Washington having a 29 points, 11 rebounds in game 2. He ended up having 7 3-pointers. So I think that right there is really what swung the entire series, because I'm gonna be honest, after game 1, I was like, wow, like I'm really split even, because prior to playoffs even starting, I had the Dallas Mavericks going to the Western Conference Finals. So they're they're going to the Western Conference Finals. I had the Nuggets, but we'll get there. We'll talk about that series. But I say that to say that after game 1, I'm like, hey, like there's a good chance that OKC can take this, because wow, like look at the way they played in game 1. We know what SGA is. I know he was my pick for MVP. Not a bad pick to go Jokic as well. But I say all that to say, like, that game 2 was just super pivotal, man, and changed absolutely everything. For anybody in the chat, man, go ahead and drop whatever type of chats you guys want. If you guys want us to talk about a certain game or a certain series, let us know. Or if you guys just want to, talk about anything random, anything NBA related, that's what me and my boy Garrett are here to talk about. But Garrett, do you have any other thoughts on, I guess, on just this game that we just witnessed, or even just this series of Mavs and OKC?
Well, I mean, obviously today, like the Thunder, like shooting 10 for 30 from 3, it probably isn't going to cut it. Now granted, the Mavericks didn't shoot great either, but I feel like they just need, like, they don't really have a whole lot of consistency from shooting. I mean, even SGA this year, it's like he shot, I think, like 32, 33% from 3. It's like, that's okay. Like, you can hit it, but you can't, like, maybe depend on it that often. I mean, Lou Dort's an improved 3-point shooter, but sometimes he does go on those cold spells of like Lou Dort of old, you know what I mean? And then like Josh Giddey and Chet Holmgren, like really Isaiah Joe is probably like the only one that I would say is pretty consistent from there. And I mean, in a make or miss league like this, like I feel like that's gonna be pivotal. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I feel like if it makes more sense saying it like this, I feel like OKC needs to play more of like their perfect game than Dallas needs to play their perfect game to like, come in the series.
Okay, I'm getting what you're saying there, and then as far as like X factors for both teams, I'm on my end. I guess I'll go ahead and start with who I think for the X factor is for the Mavs, and that's I think PJ Washington. I think the PJ Washingtons. I think the let me see. Hold on. Let me see what somebody said in the chat. John, I got to get going. May the force be with you. Yes, cool, bro. May the force be with you, brother. Hope you have a good rest of your Saturday. But anyway, like I was saying, I think the X factor for the Mavs is PJ Washington, because you know what you're going to get from Luka. You know what you're going to get from Kyrie. And even on the games that Kyrie needs to, lock in a little bit more defensively or whatnot, if you can get that big game like you got in game 2 from a PJ Washington, where he just feels so comfortable. He's coming off those rip screens. He's coming off down screens, shooting confidently without hesitating. And I don't want to skip over Tim Hardaway, because he also had a massive game 2, helping the Dallas Mavericks get a win. And I just think that those role players, and especially those two, can be a difference maker for the Mavs, because they don't necessarily force Kyrie to have to be that go get a bucket every time type guy. They don't force Luka to have to be a take over the game type guy, because if those two guys are there, it just takes so much of the load off of the Mavericks. So that's who I think is definitely the X factor for the Mavericks. Do you agree with me? Do you got someone else, or how do you feel about that, Garrett?
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of options you could go with for the X factor, and I think both those guys are. I will also say that probably Kurt. Probably I think Derek Lively is another one, just because like especially today they were like hacking him the whole fourth quarter. So it's like if he didn't go like 8 for 12 from the free throw line, which it still isn't great, but like for him, probably not all too bad, I guess, like considering the circumstances. Like if he goes like 4 of 12, it's a tie game, theoretically speaking. Or, like, and the other thing too that makes, I think, him an X factor is that like there's so many lob opportunities that are created for him. So if he, like honestly, he shot like what 2 for 7 today, and like I would be willing to bet all those were just easy like lob put back dunks or something like that. Like that's as simple as it was. So I don't know. I think like honestly, like I like I said, I think Dallas is slightly the better team when you look at like star power along with like the supporting cast. But ultimately, like I think they could play even higher if maybe those little things that he does also are done the right way.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah. Derek Lively is a game changer for the series, and absolutely was a game changer today. I mean, honestly, just that pick and roll partner of Derek, like putting Derek Lively paired up with Luke and Kyrie, was just honestly probably the best thing the Dallas Mavericks have done since freaking bringing on Mark Cuban or even bringing on PJ Washington at the trade deadline, because that was huge too. Kurt, yes, sir. You know what it is, man. another takeover here. I got my guy Garrett with me in the building, man. Got him all give some big love, some big shout out, man. It's Super Mario Hoops 24 on YouTube. Great content creator. Go check him out, everybody. Let me see what Kurt said here. He said, I wish we drafted Lively. Now, Garrett, I gotta, tell you a little bit. This is probably pretty common knowledge to you because you see the background, but we are mainly Lakers fans over here because this is the Lakers fast break. So when he says
I thought this was Clippers fast break.
So we are talking about the Lakers. We're talking about the Lakers. So he said, I wish you drafted Derek Lively. Boy, do I wish you drafted Derek Lively, but the Mavs scouting team, they're on top of that. And then he also said OKC needs more size. Absolutely. If they could use a Steven Adams type player, that would be great. And this is one thing that I actually even noted today, and I was taking notes in the game today, is like the Dallas Mavericks were able to get so many second chance boards, and they were able to just get so many second chance buckets, and they were because they had so many offensive boards. Because when Chet is out, they're so small. They're so small, and even with Chet in there, if you apply the right type of pressure, and you move him out of that, out of that paint, man, like the Oklahoma City Thunder are just tiny, and this is one thing that I called out, and a lot of people called out in the like prior to the playoff starting. It's like, man, they should really focus on using all these draft picks that they have to bring in a real big, because Chet is gonna need help come playoffs, and that's exactly what we're seeing, and that's exactly what Kurt's talking about here. He said OKC needs more size. So Garrett, if you want to jump in on any of this here, and Garrett, everybody's saying drop your channel. Yep, there you go, drop your channel.
Yeah,
yes, sir. His channel is right there, man. Make sure you check out my guy's channel. You guys go support. Everyone will support, show some love. And then we got here, Sean said toenail clippers don't have enough fans to have a podcast. I feel that, Sean. I feel that the Clippers, but unfortunately they got bounced in the same round we did. Let me see. Clippers pod is Steve Abromler choosing toilets. And then Bloodhound said OKC's beating up Luka. Don't know if he will last this series. Man, if Luka doesn't last this series, that changes absolutely everything. But Garrett, give me some of your thoughts. I know I'm just rambling here. Just want to get everybody in the chat here involved.
Yeah, I think well, I guess the first thing is talking about wishing that the Lakers drafted Derek Lively. Probably would have been a better choice than Jalen Hood-Schifino. And I'm saying that as someone who closely followed IU, you know what I mean? And I don't, again, not to, I guess, get on the nerves of the Laker fans that are watching, but I know that was probably one of the most disappointing picks in the whole draft. And I still don't get why he went so high. I've never seen a player do that before. Anyways, that's besides the point. OKC, they definitely could use Derek Lively. I mean, granted, they traded him for Cason Wallace, so and he's really helped out. In a way, I think it's a lot of what maybe Davion Mitchell did the year prior with the Kings in the playoffs. And so it's he's not really shying away from the moment necessarily, where it's he's unplayable. Sometimes you'll see these young guys and it's they come in and it's they're basically useless. You know what I mean? We don't have to go totally on the Nuggets, but just to make a point about it, the other day, they didn't really play any of their young guys throughout the big minutes of the game until it was over. So sometimes that's just the play. And then granted, everyone on OKC is pretty young, but as a maybe bench player, someone who doesn't play a whole lot, and then you're expected to play more in the playoffs, then it's a little bit different. Now with Luka, he's going to be banged up the whole series. I don't expect him to miss games because I think he probably, I think he has respect, obviously, for the Thunder and Shea and everything. But I think he definitely hears all the conversations between him and Shea being compared with one another. And while Shea is really good, I think he wants to maybe make an imprint where it's okay, Shea is good, but I've been doing this first. So you know what I mean? So I don't think he'll sit out. Whether the series goes in their favor or not, that remains to be seen. But I feel like he's just going to try to, respond as much as he can, even if his shot isn't falling, which today it really wasn't.
It really wasn't at all. And just want to shout out what Jay said right here. It said as long as Boston doesn't win, this is the type of vibe.
Boston's not winning.
Okay, all right. So look, so look, Garrett. I am you know me, and the chat knows me around here. I am a diehard Lakers fan, and I don't want to see the Boston Celtics win. But I'm gonna be honest, brother. I'm gonna be honest. We're fully healthy. If they have KP out there, I just don't see how they don't end up getting it done unless it's the Minnesota Timberwolves that are over there. Like even the Nuggets right now just look super hobbled. I don't even think they're gonna even get past the Timberwolves anymore, even though that was my original pick. But go ahead, talk to me. Looks like you got some feelings about that.
Yeah, I don't trust the Celtics. They do this every single year. And especially ever since they got Joe Mazzulla too. I think when they got Udoka as the coach, it felt like they were turning a corner of maybe mental toughness in a way. And then last year, dominant, like basically the whole regular season at home. And then I think they go like 5-6 at home in the playoffs. This year, they're 37-4 regular season at home. One of the best home seasons ever we've ever seen from a team. And they're already 2-2 at home. And those two losses wasn't even good. Like, it's not like you lost it like a buzzer beater or something like that, or like you lost by 5 points. Like, they got ran off their home court in 2 of those games. You know how many times that happened in the regular season where they just got ran off the court? Once. It was against the Clippers.
Hold on, though. Yes, I'll give you that. But that one loss that they had to the Miami Heat in round 1, like, come on, bro. Like, that was they just caught fire. They literally hit a franchise record of 3-pointers. They can't do that again.
You know what, though? Like, and this is probably going to sound like, oh, well, you're just saying that, but I literally did predict that they were going to win that game after how game 1 ended with that whole Caleb Martin and Jason Tatum thing. And it's like that kind of inspired the Heat. Like, I knew they were going to come out and win that game, at least that game. Series, like, okay, like they're hobbled, whatever. But the same thing is like this Cavs team. It's like, obviously game 1, they're saying like, oh, sweep. Like, there's a reason this team doesn't sweep anybody. You know what I mean? The only team that they've ever swept in this like Tatum Brown era really is like the Nets. And it's because that was the one time the Celtics were a higher seed and they weren't even the favorite to win the series. They just lost to this team the year before. Obviously, we know Kyrie's relationship with Boston. So like all those things factored in, and then they pulled off that one as a sweep. Like nobody, like, do we remember the Hawks forcing the 6 last year? The Hawks, they played no defense. So like I'm just saying right now, like, for one, I mean, teams like Denver, Minnesota, that's a great matchup we got going on. Obviously, the series we just talked about, the other side of the East, I mean, you have a really hard-nosed Knicks team, and you have like an elite offensive Pacers team. And I wouldn't even count out the Cavs because now they have home court advantage. And there's a chance Jared Allen and Dean Wade could be back today.
Let's see. And real quick, I mean, to answer to that, you won't get much of a fight from me and nobody here in the chat because we're Lakers fans, so we don't even want to see that happen.
I don't get why. Like, I don't know. I just don't feel like it's they play around way too much.
I do think they play with their food too much. My 2 things I'll say are this. One, JJ Redick always talks about numbers and analytics, and he's said how the team that has shot and of course made, but even just attempted more threes than the other team in the playoffs have been winning more games. But the other thing I'll say is that I just think that yes, they always have gotten there and choked, but I really do see this team different with KP and Jrue Holiday. But if KP is not there, that does change everything. But they live and die by the 3-pointer, and sometimes that could be literally your worst enemy. Let me just show some love to some people love here in the chat. What's good, Daniel? Happy to see you, brother. Happy Saturday. Happy NBA playoffs. And to everybody else here everybody else that's here in the chat, man, happy Saturday, man. Happy NBA playoff day. I am very happy to be here with y'all. We got like 24 people in here. We jumping, man. Appreciate everybody supporting. Make sure you guys come check out both of my channels. I got Clutch Talk that is on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, bringing you all type of NBA content, best infotainment around the town. And also I got Lakers Corner, another YouTube page where I talk just about Lakers stuff. And then make sure you check out my guy Garrett's work. I pointed the wrong way. My guy Garrett's work, Super Mario Hoops 24, showing love big time. I appreciate you coming on here with us, brother. And whatever series you guys want to talk about in the chat, make sure you guys drop that down in the chat. I'm gonna read some of these chats real quick, Garrett, and then you can go ahead and jump into it. Kurt said it would be hilarious if Kyrie and the Mavs beat the Celtics with him stomping over Lucky again. That would be crazy because of the whole Kyrie and Celtics situation. Sean said Ime Udoka can coach, but I'm not sold on Mazzulla, who's in the right place, the right time. Okay. I mean, a lot of people aren't sold on Mazzulla. Yeah, I think
Udoka just got too freaky, man.
He got too freaky. He couldn't keep the freaky inside. Freaky. Let me see.
Can't blame him, but
hey, brother, I feel you, brother. I feel you, but just try to keep it off work premises. Kurt said Charles Lee's checked out, planning his staff in Charlotte. Absolutely. Jay said, I hope our coach is better than Ham. Boy, I mean it's gonna be easy to be better than Ham because I've said this, and Garrett, I'm happy you're here because I want to get your thoughts on this because I know how a lot of the chat feels about this. But man, Garrett, I've said this so many times before on this channel, and I've said it on my channel. I've been watching the Lakers like faithfully, like literally every single game, no joke, since like 2009, 2010. Before then, I was a Lakers fan, but I was just young, so I wasn't necessarily catching every game. I have not missed a game since then. And I have a question to you. And not have actually I do have a question, but I have a statement before I have a question. My statement is Darvin Ham, in my opinion, is by far the worst coach I've ever seen in the Lakers. Like worse than Byron Scott, worse than Luke Walton, worse than when we had Mike D'Antoni. I mean, worse than a lot of these coaches that we've had. Want to get how you feel about that because I know you're not necessarily a Lakers fan, but you are just in tune with just basketball in general. You think that's me over exaggerating? A lot of the chat agrees with me though, but how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's fair because Billy Donovan's never coached the Lakers, so I guess. But no, I mean, I don't know. I think he clearly wasn't a good coach. Like he didn't like the players by the end of it weren't listening to him, and that's already like a big red flag. If your coach loses his players that quickly, you know what I mean? Now some of that I guess you could put on the players, but I think most of it probably does go on him. I literally like after he got fired, like there was a clip that I think I saw. It was like he tried drawing up a play and then he like erased and then he drew up another play, and then he like erased before he even got to the meat of it. And then the whole timeout, like the second timeout buzzer went off, and then he's like, and he just drew like in like 3 seconds like a squiggly line or something like that. And he's like, all right, got it. And like AD's over there looking like,
what the fuck? He's like, what is going on?
So yeah, I mean, definitely like a downgrade of Frank Vogel, who, I mean, even he just got fired, but I also don't think he, I don't know, like it just didn't seem like he fit really with the Suns. Now, an option, I know everyone's talking about like Redick and Ty Lue if he left the Clippers and stuff like that, but maybe, I mean, it would kind of look a little dumb, but maybe Frank Vogel back in LA.
I don't know, brother. Look. So here's my take with that. I liked Frank Vogel as a coach when we had him in 2020, but that was because our roster like construction matched his coaching philosophy. He's a defensive minded coach, and that team that year was some just defensive dogs. Like we had dogs on the perimeter, we had dogs inside. Like they literally called AD, Dwight, and JaVale the Air Force because they were just cleaning things up in the paint. And it made sense to have Vogel, but then like literally the following year, our front office is stupid, so they go the absolute opposite direction that just won us a championship, and they decide to become offensively minded with bringing in Trevor Ariza, Carmelo Anthony, and all that. And then Frank Vogel just looked like a terrible coach, ended up getting fired. So I would be okay with bringing Frank, but I'd want to have the players that can match his philosophy because right now we are not a defensive minded team at all. So I don't know how much better it would be than last time than that. I actually kind of like JJ Redick, to be honest. I know it sounds crazy, but I kind of like JJ Redick. I say give the man a chance. He got the X's and O's down. So how do you feel about it?
The thing is, like, and I know you're a big LeBron guy and everything like that, but if you're hiring the next coach, I mean, obviously every team with LeBron on it is going to have like, you know, he's going to have like the most input, even though he says like, I don't get involved in coaching. Like, come on, we know. But I think honestly, this time, like you're at a point where like, you don't really know what if LeBron's going to be on the team next year or like his long-term future with the team. I feel like you have to pick the coach based on like Anthony Davis. Realistically, I think at least. I don't know.
That. I like that. See, Sean said his rotations made no sense. Agreed. A team that can't rebound should never play 4 guards who don't rebound at the same time. Absolutely agree. Somebody here said, Jay said he started Taurean Prince for 50 games. I think that right there is alone enough evidence to get the man fired.
Of course, and then the Lakers season ended with Taurean Prince heaving a half-court shot.
Man, what a terrible way to end the season. Let me see. T Perfect, appreciate you being on here, my dog. Appreciate the chat. He said, yeah, it was Ham's fault. LeBron and Reeves were turtles on defense. Ham shot 36% in fourth periods when Nuggets were racing deficit. Ham and D'Lo fold in game 2. But honestly, guys, like even in my Lakers versus Nuggets preview that I did on my Lakers Corner channel, I was like, I just don't see a way we beat the Nuggets here. Like I just don't see how this could even possibly happen. So
I mean, I just think I will say too, like at least the Austin Reeves defense part, like yeah, you could say like maybe he wasn't playing outstanding defense, but at the end of the day, I mean, he was guarding Jamal Murray a lot of that series, and Jamal Murray really didn't take over until like specific parts of the series. You know what I mean? So
until the last
shots. And that's really what like the star players do. So it's like, I don't know, the fact that he kept him in check almost most of the game. I mean, that was the time to pull away. So it didn't come down to that. You know what I mean? And it's just every time, like it was just Nuggets are down big. They came back. They're down big. They came back. Like, you know.
Bro, we were up by 20 in game 2, dog. Up by 20. And I understand that no lead is safe in the NBA, but it's like we're up by 20 and we still don't even end up getting it done. Kurt here said, I think Steve Clifford is one of the few guys who have been let go and hired back by the same team. Yeah, I cannot confirm that, but yeah, Steve Clifford
Jackson left the Lakers and came back.
That is true. That is true.
Good.
Hey, and we're in the Lakers corner. We're in a Lakers fast break, baby. Let's see. People who said Ham's a good coach need to watch games. I don't know. I don't know who said Ham's a good coach, brother. But yeah, if you said Ham's a good coach, I really don't think you're there watching games here. Kurt said, I'm sure Ham is a good assistant for rah-rah motivational speeches and pregame strategy. I wouldn't even think for pregame strategy. He's probably just a good motivator because the guy's been like shot in the face, right? That's what I heard about him. What's up, Garrett?
I think he's very much just a player pleaser.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why like he would be good as an assistant coach. I mean, he won a championship as an assistant coach, but like that's why I think he's good in that role. He's not good in the role where it's like the head coach is almost supposed to be like maybe like in a lot of times your least favorite coach. You know what I mean? Just because he holds you accountable in those ways. So I don't know.
Absolutely. Let me see what Sean here. Nobody is saying that everything is Ham's fault, but he made the idiotic rotations that cost the Lakers some wins. Absolutely. Not only just the rotations, brother, but also just a lack of timeouts. There were so many runs other teams went on that a timeout could have easily cooled. That changed the entire momentum of a game, and it didn't. So, yeah, not 100% on Darvin Ham's fault, but I think I always describe it as a big old pizza, and he has the biggest slice of blame for that for the season.
He sure looks like he'd enjoy that pizza.
He's enjoying that pizza, but also some of it. Also, some of it. I gotta be honest. Is this guy's fault too? Right here, this guy's fault. And I love this guy. This guy's my GOAT in my opinion. But I gotta take accountability. At least if he won't, I will for him. He sat too many games that we could have easily won, and we lost by like 5 or 6 points. That if he would have been on there, it would have changed absolutely everything. So he got to take some of the accountability for this season too.
I know someone who played all 82 games 9 times. Yeah, he's right here. He's right
Oh
here.
my goodness.
But no, realistically, like the only thing, like I know over here earlier they said, I hope our next coach is better than Ham.
Yeah.
I think you guys need his twin brother Darvin Turkey. That'll be better than Ham.
Darvin Turkey. Anything would be better than Ham. But Garrett, I wanna give you a little bit of control, my boy. What series you want to talk about next? What games you want to get into next? What series has been catching your eye besides this Oklahoma and Mav series?
You know, I mean, we could talk about, I guess, the big fish right now, because I'm sure we'll get over. I mean, we kind of talked. Well, we'll get back to Boston and Cav. Like we could talk about the Denver and Minnesota right now.
Okay, you want to get Denver? Okay, Denver, Minnesota. Denver, give me some of your thoughts on this series. I mean, we've seen 3 games so far. You good? The Timberwolves the Timberwolves took the first 2 in Denver, which was huge, and then the Nuggets went ahead and took one in Minnesota just yesterday. Give us your thoughts on that series and what you've been seeing so far.
So game 1, I think game 1 was just all around a pretty solid game. It was, I think, like, Minnesota had a little bit of a lead going into the 4th, and I think we all thought, like, okay, here comes Denver, the comebacks, they always happen. But then they didn't. I think it's the first time. I think even in that game, you guys beat Denver. I think they still outscored you guys in the 4th quarter. It just wasn't enough. Yeah. But like, it was the first time they got outscored in the 4th. So it's like, okay, like this is going to be a competitive series. Then you go into game 2 and it's like, honestly, like, and I'll tell you this because, I mean, obviously, like we haven't known each other forever, but we've known each other for a few years now. And I would say I was probably one of the first people to like be pro Denver Nuggets on this core. You know what I mean? Like, ever since they had Danilo Gallinari, my guy, you know what I mean? So it's been like 8 years that I'm like, this team's going to break through and win a title. And they did, right? I can honestly say in all 8 of those years, that was the most shook they've ever looked in a game, was game 2. Yeah, Jamal Murray throwing a fit, Mike Malone coming on the court. Jokic was just like out of sorts, you know what I mean? Like, it just looked horrible, you know what I mean? And obviously, I think everyone was like, okay, well, sweep, like, get out the brooms. But
that was
even
crazy.
After all that, like, I thought to myself, and I even put out a tweet, I'm like, am I the only person that still thinks the Nuggets can win this series? Like,
I still haven't winning, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I felt like game 3 is going to happen. There's no way they're going to allow themselves to be down 3-0, especially if Jamal Murray was there. And obviously, he didn't get suspended by the league. And you saw what happened in game 3. It was honestly like, obviously maybe the Timberwolves weren't as rattled as the Nuggets were in game 2, but the blowout was even bigger in game 3 when the Nuggets won. And so that tells me it's like, okay, when this team is actually locked in, when Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray actually care about basketball, things can be crazy. You know what I mean? Rather than just parts of a game, you know what I mean? Because some of these teams that are well put together, it's just not going to work like that. And obviously, like, you guys had them like a lot of games too, but I'm just saying, like, eventually, like, it's going to come to a point where the desire to win, like when you're in the conference finals or the finals, like, you can't allow that. First round is still pretty fresh, I guess. And it's like, you know what, like, do we want to exert all that? Like, I think the Bucks are a good example because their guys got hurt, and it's like, like, we could go all out like that, but they really didn't in the last game. They kind of just folded, you know what I mean? But I think, I don't know, like, it's just, I still think the Nuggets are probably win the series. Like, I think game 4 will definitely be closer because the Timberwolves are going to have a good talk and they're going to, like, kind of learn from some of their mistakes. But I mean, expect to see Jokic and Murray making the big plays down the stretch because they were really guarding Murray the same way. A lot of tough shots, but he was just hitting a lot of them in game 3. And the other thing that's bad about that is that this is a guy who can easily catch his confidence. So
Absolutely.
I think if they win the next game, like I've said, if they make this a 2-2 series, I think it's going to demoralize the Timberwolves, honestly. And
Absolutely.
even if the Timberwolves did win game 4, of course, it would look really good for their chances to win the series, but I still wouldn't count Denver out, which is
No,
weird.
Come on, guys. We can't count Denver out until the fat lady has sung on the series, because it's not over till it's over with the defending champions. Just want to give some love to everybody in the chat real quick. T Perfect said, get rid of Bron. They need to retool while AD still is playing at a top 10 level. It's hard. And we'll continue with the Timberwolves series right now. Garrett, just want to just get some of these chats. But it's hard to say, get rid of Bron, just because like there was so many times where he did, carry us, or he did help us. And because the thing with Anthony Davis, and I've said this so many times about him, like he's not a 1A guy. He's a 1B. He needs someone there to get him the ball. He needs someone there to set him up. He's not the guy that's like, yo, give me the ball and I'm just going to take over. He's not a Giannis type guy. Sad to say, but it's just, we got to deal with reality, and that's just who he is. He has the ability to be that, but for whatever reason, he doesn't do that on a night-to-night basis. And he needs someone to get it to him and bring that dog out of him. So I think that right now our best chance of doing that is Bron. But I hear what you're saying though, T Perfect, because at some point, I mean, Bron's just going to be taking up so much money and to be hecka old. Let me see. Zeke, Garrett, let me tell you, Super Zeke, he's always trying to troll. He's always just trying to make all the Lakers fans mad. But sure, whatever you want to say, Zeke, we don't really care. Right now, we're talking about this Timberwolves series. So let me respond to what you were saying, Garrett. You brought up a lot of great points. And what I'll say is, overall, I agree with you. I really do agree with you. I don't think that the series is over yet. I think that everyone is Sean said super geek. But anyway, I don't think the series is over. I do think that the Minnesota Timberwolves threw a really good punch in the first 2 games, but it's far from over, man. I think that the defending champions still have they still have a fight in this. And my biggest thing, and you mentioned it, game 1 and game 2, Jamal Murray was not Jamal Murray. Like, I don't know where he went, but he wasn't there. And I do want to give credit to the Minnesota Timberwolves defense, because they were suffocating him those first 2 games, like picking him up full court, not letting him go anywhere, all this and all that. But what I will say is that, like, the shots just also weren't hitting. In basketball, like you said earlier, this is a make or miss league. So it's like you could be getting them up, and the defense could be playing great defense. But if the shot's just not going in, like you getting them off, but the shot's not going in, like that's just that. And you know what I'm saying? And I think, excuse me, and I think in game 3, like Jamal Murray came out early. I'm pretty sure the first 3 possessions, he came out early and was just trying to score, getting to it. I believe he took the first like 2 or 3 shots of the game. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I like to see him being aggressive, because in games 1 and 2, he wasn't very aggressive. I think he played to the defense hand, right? The defense was so aggressive with him, picking him up full court, not letting him go anywhere. And he kind of, was just like, all right, then you go to work, Aaron Gordon, or you go to work, MPJ. And he kind of conceded to what they were doing, and he kind of played it into their hands by not being as aggressively looking to score on the offensive end. But game 3, I think that they made it a focal point of being like, yo, Jamal Murray, like, for us to win, you got to be the X factor. You got to be the guy that is aggressively looking to score on the offensive end, just to keep the defense on their toes. Because if not, I mean, I just think you're asking Jokic and Aaron Gordon on some backdoor dunker spot cuts to win you the game. So, yeah.
You know what else is, and it was the first for the whole playoffs. You know it even very well. They actually started a game good. Wow.
Yeah, for real.
Like it's amazing when they actually come out ready to play. Like you could tell, like they were like, okay, we're done. Like they're talking about us in this way and that way. But realistically, it's like much of last year. I mean, when they played this Minnesota team, no Jaden McDaniels last year. So that was obviously going to take away from the perimeter defense. But so you had guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker who were mostly on Jamal Murray. And that's why I was like, okay, well, if he's on you again, it shouldn't be like it's anything you haven't seen before. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to like figure out ways to score like you did last year. You know, the same rate roughly you did last year, even close to maybe like 90% of it. I know he's still dealing with the calf, but like if you can get close to that, you know what I mean? Like, that's really all this team needs. Now, obviously, like, I don't really know what the status totally is on Alexander Walker because I know he got hurt last game. But yeah, if he's out, I mean, that's going to be a big blow. But the other thing, too, is that, like, if Jaden McDaniels is now on Jamal Murray more often, well, now your size is kind of shifting upward. And I feel like that would mean a guy like Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter Jr. also needs to do more. But at the same time, I still feel like Jamal Murray, like, there's not one player on that team that should be able to shut him down defensively. Like, I think good, like, elite offensive players more times than not are going to get the best of elite defensive players. Like, that's just how it is. Look especially at, like, just as an example, I mean, we don't have to talk about it quite yet, but look what Donovan Mitchell's doing to Drew Holiday right now. Sheesh. Cooking him. So, sheesh. I mean, this is every time, you know.
And let me Pale Fox, let me make sure I see what you're talking about. He said, please, only one team in NBA history has won a chip outside of a top 3 seed, a 4 seed. So if you cannot be 1 through 4 seed in the season, you will not win a chip. Let me, what team are you trying to get into? What are you trying to say that the Timberwolves won't win? Are you trying to say, or like, what are you trying to say here? Well, I need some clarification. Unless you know what he's talking about, Garrett, because I don't.
He said only one team in history has won a chip outside the top 3 seeds. Yeah. That's not true because the Rockets won as a 6th seed, their second year.
Garrett is a historian, y'all. Yeah. You can't. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Garrett is a historian. Yes. Okay. So he was trying to say the Lakers won't win, but I think we knew the Lakers wouldn't win.
I mean, like, I think we already unlikely. Said that. It's still pretty unlikely that a team that low wins. Like, I think, you know, especially them being in a 7 and 8, you've never seen a team that low win. So I guess like I see that point for sure. But I don't. Yeah, it's just a lot of
1 seed.
1
yeah. Pale Fox. I'm gonna tell you something. Garrett is my brother. I've been knowing him for a couple of years, and one thing you cannot get by him is some historian NBA facts. That man has got Jeopardy on lock. So Kurt said Jaden McDaniels learned that if you hit a wall, the wall wins. Absolutely, the wall will almost always win.
The other thing with this too, this is an interesting comment, is that like, and I don't know why. Like, I get like it was his lower body, Alexander Walker, but then they said on the broadcast that he was so frustrated he punched the chair on the way out. I don't know if you heard that, but it's like, dude, like it cost this guy his season last year. He wasn't there for you. Do you want to be there for your team? Like like him getting hurt sucks, you know. Like, obviously, no one wants to see him hurt, but if you're hurting yourself, you're really hurting the team. You know, and especially after what happened last year with, Jaden McDaniels, I feel like the team would be really upset with him if something like that did happen. I don't think it did because nothing was reported, but like people got to like control their tempers, especially on this team.
Absolutely.
We saw that fight last year where Gobert took a swing on Kyle Anderson, you know, but
I hear that changed everything. I ain't gonna lie. I heard like
like if you're hurt and you can't play, that will change everything too.
Absolutely. So, it'll for the worse. So now I hear you. Jay said, when was the last scrappy team to win a chip? I would say probably that Pistons team, to be honest, was the last like real scrappy team to win a chip. But even though they had all-stars on their roster,
I would honestly say maybe like the 2014 Spurs, like obviously the other
famers.
But I think that was a unique team. Like the Spurs, like the big three, like was a lot more firepower. I think that year was more so like it was about everybody. You know what I mean? From Kawhi to Dowd, you know, like all these guys were getting involved.
Tony, bro, that was the year that Tony Parker hit that crazy game winner, like when he like ripped, like stepped through and like was floating it and threw it up there like that, huh? I think it was that year. I know it was against LeBron.
I think that was the year before. I think I know what you're talking. Like he was on one knee.
Yeah,
I think that was the year before. I think that was like game 1 or game 3 or something. Like
good point. Good point, Kurt. The Raptors had a scrappy team.
Yeah, that's another one.
They did. That's a good point. Garrett Pale said, "You're as old as his grandson's brother." How old's your grandson? How old is your grandson?
Yeah, we need to know this first before
But
the age reveal.
the age reveal. But yeah, so just wanted to give some love to that. And then Sean said exactly what you said, Garrett, that Houston Rockets won a title as a 6th seed.
They never would have if, but
And
then people will be like, yeah, he was there, but like, bro, he just came back for like literally 3 weeks. Saved their season, even, but we don't have to get into that.
we don't gotta. Anyway, Pale said his grandson is 23. So
I guess he's right then.
He is right, because that is around my boy Garrett's age. And then as far as hold on, Garrett. People showing love to you. They said the Cubs say everything. Oh,
was that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. Sean, let us know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Looks like he got more hats.
I don't quite want to be, this guy or anything like that, but Milwaukee Brewers, no, frick the Brewers. And no, anyone that says like, oh, you're fake, you got those hats. This is from like literally like, I think I was in like a second or third grade league, and our team was the Brewers. Like we had actual MLB teams as our teams. So no, it's not me being a fan of them. So.
Look, go right there, Garrett. They said one title in 100 plus years.
Hey,
man,
and it's the best title in the last 100 years. So.
Woo! I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I be following so much basketball. I don't even keep up with other sports. So all I know is that, hey, man, I just know the names of the teams. That's
they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Yeah. Like a Cubs title is worth 1,000 years. I'm good for life.
I'm good for life. And Sean said I'm a Reds fan, so have no room to talk. Hey, brother, I feel you. But let's get back to basketball, man. Let's talk about some hoops. Some more things I want to touch on. And again, everybody in the chat, appreciate you guys all being in here, man. Go ahead, drop any chats that y'all want to talk about. Any playoff series, anything. And as you see, we can even veer off and get into other sports. Hey, Jay, I'll answer your question real quick. He said, never mind, but I got you, Jay. I don't really watch football that much. I mean, I watch like the Super Bowl or whatnot, but if I had to pick a team, my team would be the Eagles. Cause back in 2012, I used to play Madden, and they had Michael Vick, LaShawn McCoy, and Deshaun Jackson. They were so good on the Eagles, but that's my extent to football. But, Garrett, you want to answer this? Are you a football guy too, or no?
I mean, that's a solid option for sure. The Eagles, I mean, obviously I'm a Bears fan. I'm everything Chicago except the White Sox because they suck. But yeah, Bears are going to turn it around this year because no Justin Fields, and we got Caleb Williams instead. So there you go.
There we go. Let me see. Hold on. Sean said no, not the E-Gals. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't even watch. I don't even watch. I couldn't even tell you what. I just know Jalen Hurts is on there, so I'm not even really a real fan, y'all. I don't keep up with it like that. But if I had to pick a team, that would be my team. Bloodhound said, John, are you going to the new Clippers arena next season? I actually am going to try to go because my brother lives not too far from there. So I'm going to try to definitely make a pop-up in my full Lakers outfit. So maybe Steve Ballmer will like kick me out or something like that. I don't know.
You'll be on the wall, and they'll have to escort you out. You'll be the first. You could be the first fan escorted out of the wall. That would be like history.
Legendary, Gary. That's what that would be.
That would be cool.
Let me see here. I'm gonna just keep fielding these chats, Garrett. So if you wanted to get into basketball, we'll get into basketball. But people are saying I'm a Cowboys fan, so I despite the Bengals. Hey.
Did he mean to say Bengals or Eagles? And he put a B. I don't know what he
Oh,
meant.
that's it. That's a good one. Or both.
Yeah.
Okay. So Pale said, okay, so Cavs, Magic, Pacers, Mavericks have astronomical odds against them, like worse than Vegas. So bet on any other team.
Well, anyone betting on the Magic right now is out because the Magic are out.
They're out. But hey, honestly, one thing I do want to say is this, and let me know how you feel about this, Garrett. I've been saying this to some people. I feel like the Magic would have actually been a better matchup against the Celtics than the Cavs are right now, especially with Jared Allen out. I don't know how you're going to feel like this because you are a big Donovan Mitchell guy, but how do you feel about that?
It's not as much that. I mean, like, obviously he has a big part of doing it, but like, I just think that the Magic, yeah, they're kind of a young team and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if they would have the offensive, like, they wouldn't figure it out offensively. This is a team that didn't win any road games either. So Boston, a team who's notoriously been horrible, like for their standard at home over the last couple of years in the Joe Mazzulla era, like I feel like giving them a 2-0 lead, like that's not good. I mean, they're probably going to blow one. Like, I don't know. I just don't think they have enough consistent offensive help. We also didn't know like Jalen Suggs was kind of like playing through an injury like near the end there. So
He's a dog.
Gary Harris was hurt. So like some of their best like perimeter guard defenders. And I also don't think it would really matter as much because like, yeah, you could throw those guys on Tatum, but then like Derek White will have like a crazy game or Jaylen Brown could have a crazy game. Or honestly, like their bench do it like a Pritchard and Sam Hauser could go crazy. So they just have so many like options. Now the thing that I think Cleveland has is no, they don't have maybe the guys that could stop them, but they're still probably going to either make it or not regardless. But they just have like a lot of weapons on shooting wise. And I don't think people really noticed that because of the series with Orlando, they were kind of having to play to a different style. I'll give Orlando this credit because even though they lost the series, I think for maybe a little bit more than half of the series, they kind of controlled how the series went. And what I mean by that is like the pace, because it felt like a really slow, like low scoring type of series for the most part. Not a lot of threes. No one could really get in a rhythm. But you're already seeing in this series, like, I mean, Donovan Mitchell had several threes last game. Darius Garland had several. Yorgis Niang is hitting them again. Max Strus is hitting threes again. Karis LeVert, like he wasn't hitting threes the other day, but I mean, like he's hitting mid-range jumpers and you know what I mean? So like obviously we know what Sam Merrill can do, but I feel like it's opened up the door for more guys to hit shots. Marcus Morris hitting threes. Like, I don't know. I just don't think if Orlando was in that situation, I don't expect, you know, I'm a big Markelle Fultz guy, you know it. I don't expect him to hit threes like that. I really don't expect Jonathan Isaac to hit threes like that. And honestly, I think even part of the reason too that like honestly they should be thankful that Paolo shot as well as he did from three because it could have looked even a whole lot worse if that was the case. I think he shot like 39% in that first round series. And you know, Franz Wagner, not really like a great shooter. He can hit them, yeah. I just think along with the inexperience factor, they might have won a game, maybe, but I think Cleveland also has a little bit more experience and they have a little bit more shooters to maybe compete with a team that shoots like a lot of threes every single game.
I think they could definitely keep up. Like the Celtics and Cavs are better. The Cavs are a better offensive like matchup with the Celtics, but I just do think, and you did bring up a great point about Jalen Suggs going down a little bit of an injury. I just think that the perimeter defense and the length that the Magic had would have just gave the Celtics at least on the defensive end hell, dog. It would have just gave them hell, and I think that the Cavs can reciprocate that a bit, but they're definitely going to need Jared Allen out there. I mean, while we're on the Cavs, let's just talk about that series then. I did want to
say one thing though, real quick. On that is, I think if the Magic were playing the Celtics, I do think Jaylen Brown would average 30 points a game.
Damn.
And I say that because one of the biggest things is while they do have the length, right? They weren't throwing maybe as many like double teams and help as they should have. And
but
you
how
saw,
much
like,
is that? Go ahead.
There was even a one stretch for the one game. It was honestly like, as someone who roots for Donovan Mitchell, I was like, okay, like sure, like thank you, you know, over and over. Him and Darius Garland, like they got in the paint so easily. But if I'm a Magic fan, I'd be frustrated like watching that. You know what I mean? And I still was even a little frustrated because I don't like dislike the Magic. Like they're one of the teams I liked watching the most this season. I'm a big Paolo guy. Obviously, I like Markelle Fultz, Gary Harris, you know. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm a huge Paolo guy. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a huge Paolo. I'm a huge Franz. I just love that team in general, bro. And I feel like yes, they got eliminated, and I do think that on the defensive end that they could have gave the Celtics a little bit more of a challenge than what the Cavs are gonna do. Offensively, I agree. I think that sometimes they just get stuck. And I even said this on on my Clutch Talk page, I dropped a video recapping all the series. And when I talk about that Magic and Cavs series, I said that sometimes it felt like the Magic didn't have a player that they could just go to no matter what the defense is throwing to them and say, please go get a bucket for us. Like Donovan Mitchell was that guy, no matter what the Cavs threw at him, no matter if it was a boxing one, it was a double, if it was even a triple team one, no matter what they had, no matter what even if the Celtics were in even if the Cavs were in like a scoring slump, they could just go to Donovan Mitchell and say, yo, like, go get us a bucket just so we can see the ball go through the hoop, and that could get us some momentum, that could get us going. And that's something that I just feel like the Magic really slacked on. Just want to give some love to some people in the chat here real quick. Jay said, thoughts on the Paul George situation? Unless I'm missing something. I know Paul. I know he might opt out. Like, is that what we talking about here? Or
I think that's what he meant.
Yeah. If we're talking about that, Jay, hey, I mean, I'll be surprised if he opts out. I ain't gonna lie. I watch a lot of his little podcast P's, and he just loves being in LA. He loves playing in LA, and I don't think he's gonna play for the Lakers. So I'd be surprised if he does opt out, but I'm sure he does want to win. Sean said, yep, the Magic punked the Celtics twice in regular season. Yeah, I'm right there with you for that. Bloodhound says Celtics living by the 3-pointer. They don't have KP. They aren't winning it. They aren't winning at all. I am in absolute agreement with you. That's what I said not last year, earlier in the stream. And then Garrett, this is for you. So Pale Fox said, so you weren't alive when the Rockets won their chip during Jordan's basketball break. I don't think none of us were. I ain't gonna lie. I was born in 99, so I'm 25. And Garrett, I don't think you were either, right?
Well, first of all, I guess there's 3 things. First of all, no, I was not for that. But second of all, I have all the VHS tapes of the old
Hardwood
Jordan
Classic,
game
baby.
that I've
Hardwood
watched
Classic.
well before I even knew what social media even was. Okay, so there's that. Third thing is, I was at least alive when Jordan was in the league. So
there you go. So
there you go.
So there you go. And then Bloodhound said, you mean Jordan's secret gambling suspension? So okay.
Now we're just lying on the GOAT's name. What are we doing?
Let me see here. What are we talking about? Okay. Jay said, Kurt, I actually think Zach LaVine would be a better fit than D'Lo. I do think so too, but it depends. It depends on the money, because Zach LaVine is just making an absurd amount of money. And who better to talk about Zach LaVine than with my guy Garrett? I guess we don't got to get into this super extensively, because I do want to get into, I do want to finish up these series and definitely talk about that Knicks and Pacers series. But how do you feel about Zach LaVine? Being that you are a Bulls fan, you're locked into every single game.
I'm not pleased. I'm over it. It's just we don't need it anymore. And it's not to say Zach LaVine's a bad player. I think honestly, when you look at Zach LaVine, he's pretty comparable to like Bradley Beal on the Suns. At least at this point, where it's like, yeah, he's not bad, but like maybe he's not what he used to be, for one. 2, he's definitely not like a 1 or 2 on a championship team. And I think that's what we have to realize. But, I'm tired of Zach LaVine on the Bulls. Like, it's just, I'm tired of seeing his patented move where he goes in, he brings the ball up, and then it's off his knee every single time. If you ever see someone do that and pick up, like, just know they learned it from Zach LaVine. So like, I'm tired of seeing it though, like, especially in a Bulls uniform, like, especially like we're not even like gonna do anything like anytime soon. Like, Kobe White had a breakout year, cool, but like, if we ran this team back next year, like, what's our ceiling? Okay, like, obviously there's a possibility Donovan Mitchell could leave Cleveland, and obviously we don't know what's gonna happen with the Heat. Like, so maybe you could move up to like a 7 seed, maybe a 6 seed if injuries and stuff. But like, that's, who cares? Like, we already were a 6 seed. Like, we already been in the play-in. Like, do we really want to do it again? Like, then that's kind of like where I'm at with this team. So honestly, like, we tried to rebuild, like, we made the playoffs real quick. It was a little disappointing because Lonzo got hurt. And so like, I feel like we couldn't really see our playoff form at full potential. I really would have liked to see, like, for one, if Lonzo was healthy, I feel like we would have been, we wouldn't have been the 6th seed. We would have been at least the 5th seed over Toronto. But I feel like we would have been like a pretty good team. I don't know if we would have had the best record, but probably a top 2 or 3 seed. Maybe we're playing a team like Cleveland in the first round before Donovan Mitchell, or Brooklyn, who had their own holes. Like, the narrative's a little bit different around us. Maybe there's more like playoff fun, but Lonzo's going to play next season. He has to play. Like, so he's going to play because he has to play. Like, if he doesn't play this season, no one's going to take him when he's a free agent the next year, and his career is just going to end like that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So like, he has to play. Kobe White's going to be there, and it's just time to move on from everyone. I hate it because Vucevic is kind of just like in a situation where he's like going to be there regardless next year, unless you trade him, and these guys don't like to make trades. I think we're the only team that, since bringing up Donovan Mitchell, we're the only team that hasn't traded for a player since that day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Draft picks. But we also haven't, I don't think we made a trade for an actual player since the like, I guess the sign and trade technically with like DeRozan and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's been like 3 years. Like, and you have won one playoff game, then you gave your coach a secret extension. Like, see, and here's the one thing, and it's why all the Laker fans watching, like, be thankful, okay? Like, honestly, you could be thankful too that LeBron's on your team. I'll give him this, because you knew Darvin Ham was going to get fired, because no way it was going to stay that way. Like, he wouldn't allow it, right? Meanwhile, I'm on the Bulls like side of things. We win one playoff game, and they give us a secret extension that was so secretive that even Shams Charania, one of the lead NBA senior insiders, didn't even know until halfway through the next season started. That's pretty secretive. In the world where everything gets out, that didn't even get out for a solid like 6 months.
That is extremely. Yeah, I mean, hey, so at least as Lakers fans, we got rid of our guy. We got rid of our guy.
At least you can pressure him out of there. Like, if we do that with Billy Donovan, and they still think, oh, well, the parity of the league and continuity, and like continuity's like is peaking. Like, no, it's not. Like, man, we're over it.
Look at this, Garrett. They saying that if Lonzo Ball can't play, the Bulls can fire career ending injury claim and get some cap.
Yeah, I mean, they've already did that, and they got like a little bit of a bonus, but like the league's probably not going to give him a whole lot, and ultimately it's still just going to be a waste of time. Like, at that point, just move his contract, you know?
Yeah. And then Sean is in agreement here with you. Sean says he got some VHS tapes as well. So yes, y'all, even though we are young, we are not ignorant. We know what we're talking about. We've seen the VHS, we've seen the Hardwood Classics, but before we get out of here, Garrett, there's some things I got to get, and I want to touch on at least every series. And I know we've touched on Oklahoma City Thunder and Mavs. We touched on some X factors for that. We touched briefly on the Timberwolves and the Nuggets series. We had some X factors on that. I told you who I got on my X factors, and then we were recently just talking about the Celtics and Cavs series.
Can I say one more thing about that series? But then we can see. And the only other thing, and this is why it's even hard to trust the Celtics against this series with Cleveland, is in the Joe Mazzulla era. Like, he's just such a, like, if you figure him out, in a way, he's similar to Doc Rivers, because if you figure him out, he's bad or really slow at making adjustments. And there's some teams that just have him. Because last year, I don't know if you remember, like the Bulls, we beat them like almost every time. The Cavs actually did too, which is a little concerning if they're healthy. The Magic did, like, and this season it's like you had teams like the Hawks that did multiple times. Denver obliterated them. The Bucks, like the Pacers, especially in that in-season tournament. So all I'm gonna say is, should they win this series? Yes. Should they be the favorite to win the series? Yes. But I wouldn't like say it's a foregone conclusion for even this series, and especially not the championship too. So.
Who's the X factor for the Cavs and who's the X factor for the Celtics? And then we'll move on to this Pacers and Knicks series.
I mean, if Jared Allen comes back, I think he ultimately becomes the X factor, because with his health, like, sometimes it could be hard, like, getting reintegrated back into it. But I think obviously Evan Mobley is the biggest one, because if he's able to, and you probably like hearing that.
I love hearing that.
But if he's able to run like the pick and roll with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland the way he did in game 2, I feel like that's something that is sustainable, especially with no Porzingis there. Like, it's only going to make it a little bit easier. Like, honestly, I feel like sometimes he just rushes things. And if he just like, he's going to get a lot of great, easy looks. And if he can just like put in the easy ones, the dunks that like Mitchell or Garland sets up for him, like, because they're going to give him a lot of opportunities. Sometimes he just can't catch the ball, or sometimes he just misses a post hook or something. He does that because we know about his defense. His defense is going to be there. But offensively, like, that's where it changes. And if he's dominating the inside more than anyone maybe on Boston's side of things, well, then you have kind of a problem, especially if Jared Allen comes back. The rebounding's in their favor. Right now, looks like the star power is in Cleveland's favor because Donovan Mitchell looks like a star and Jason Tatum is MIA. So, like, I don't know. Like, I think, obviously they have more supporting players too, but you're going in Cleveland and the role players normally always play better at home. So these other guys too that are shooting, like Karis LeVert, I think Karis LeVert's another X factor because he's capable of going off. We just haven't seen it like as much anymore. So if he can turn it, like, it's crazy to say turn back the clock. He's still pretty young, but if he can turn back the clock a little bit and even do a glimpse of what he did in Indiana or Brooklyn, like throughout the rest of this series, and I think that they'll have a good chance. And if there's one team he could do it against, it's Boston, because he's had a 50-piece on him, he's had a 40-piece on him, and he just had 20 off the bench. So maybe that's the team he just owns the best. I don't know.
That's how it is sometimes, man. But real quick, Woj is reporting that Lakers are eyeing JJ as their new coach. I love to hear that personally. I know some people would feel kind of head scratching about that, but hey, man, you gotta give the man a chance, man. You gotta give the man a chance. Even though I think he got the X's and O's down, I know it's to be a first-time head coaching role, and a first-time head coaching role on the Lakers more than anything is a lot of pressure. But
yeah, but like eyeing down, like I could say the same thing about like Kylie Jenner or something,
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I appreciate you, Blue Magic. I appreciate you, man. Shout out me and shout out my boy Garrett. And then Pale, that's kind of crazy, but okay, sounds good. To let me know if you have some confirmation on that. And then just to get to what you said, Garrett, I do think that Evan Mobley is absolutely an X factor here, especially with Jared Allen being out for the Cavs. Evan Mobley, like how you talked about, when he's locked in, and I actually even think him playing at the 5 has unlocked a new like way for the Cavs to play. I ain't gonna lie, with Jared Allen being out, him being at the 5, he looks a little bit. In my opinion, when I see, he looks just a little bit more free to move, a little bit, just a little bit more mobile. In my opinion, last game he had a big time game. I think even though he was not the highest scoring player, last game he had 21 points, 10 rebounds, and he was just huge in that game, both defensive end and offensive end. So in my opinion, I do think that he's an absolute game changer, X factor for the Cavs. And then also love the Karis LeVert love, because I think we've seen Darius Garland struggle to be who Darius Garland really is, and be that, offensive firepower, especially by getting buckets or whatnot, like how we kind of used to. And so I think if Karis LeVert can, come off the bench and provide that scoring that maybe Garland is lacking in, like how he did last game. He had 21 points last game, 21 points, rebounds, I believe like 4 assists or something like that. So he had a big game. So I think if he could provide that, like how you said, man, changes everything. And then for the Celtics, not going to get into that much. I think KP is their biggest X factor. KP and Drew Holiday. So basically Drew Holiday and health, because how healthy can you stay, to be honest? So
yeah, the most it might sound crazy, but like if like I guess as an like the average fan, like if I'm like my team's going against Boston or my player or whatever, like honestly the bench scares me more than anything.
Boston's bench or Cavs bench?
Boston's bench, mostly just Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, because those guys, I feel like when they're things just start clicking for the team. Like I don't know what it is necessarily, but like that's kind of the biggest thing. And if Karis LeVert's playing well, then it might neutralize that, and then it might not have as big of an impact. Also, Celtics fans, along with Jared Allen, they're hoping Dean Wade does not come back.
Yeah,
he completely lit him up. had like 20 points in the fourth quarter or something earlier this year. They're praying that man does not come back.
He went off. I remember that game. Okay, let's get to I believe would be the last series for us to touch on, and that would be the Knicks versus the Pacers. Honestly, I thought after the first two games, I was like, this, not that this was going to be a sweep, but I thought this might be over in 5. But the Pacers put up a great fight in game 3, and they're able to snag away game 3. I just want to get into, I guess, some of my overall thoughts on that series. I think that the Knicks honestly have really impressed me. I mean, both teams have really impressed me because, I mean, like, coming into the series, we had the Knicks who play a lot more of a slower pace than the Pacers. They like to play a lot more in that half court set, or Jalen Brunson kind of walks the ball up court, then he initiates something in like a high pick and roll or just something in the half court set. And the Pacers are literally the fastest team in the league. Just right when if you miss or make it, they taking it out the hoop and they go on the other end. So I was really intrigued to see who would really control the tempo of this game. I think that's be who would actually even end up winning the series. And in my opinion, the Knicks have really impressed me because I feel like they've been able to play fast when they need to and keep up with the Pacers, but also be able to keep control and keep the tempo of the game and play in that half court set. And none other than have more impressed me than Josh Hart. Dude, I know everyone's talking about it, so I'm going to sound like a broken track record, but this man has just played, I believe now it's like 4 or 5 games in this playoff series that he's played every minute of the game. Like, that's crazy. And it's not like he's out there playing every minute exhausted, so he's not really giving you much. No, bro, he's giving you like a double-double, almost a triple-double, almost every game, giving you solid minutes, diving on the floor, going after rebounds, going after loose balls, hitting the right shots at the right time. Yes, Sean hit it best. Rebounding machine at 6'4". So honestly, Josh Hart has really impressed me, and he's a baby Laker, so want to give some love to that. And my X factor for this series, my brother, you know what it is? I think it's not even necessarily a player. I mean, I guess you could point to a player, but the way I'm seeing it, the X factor for this series is what team is going to control the tempo. If it's the Pacers and they're going to play fast, then they're going to have the X factor for the series. If it's the Knicks, then I think the X factor for the series is going to be them being able to slow the game down, getting the ball in Jalen Brunson's hands, and running the half court set. Talk to me how you feel about that series and your X factors.
I mean, I'd probably just agree with you on the X factor part, and part of it, why I agree, is that you even said Josh Hart's played like basically 5 straight full games. DiVincenzo the other day literally didn't come out of the game, and they really couldn't afford it either. But Brunson, he's playing through an injury, but this team, this Knicks team, has had so many injuries lately, and obviously with the more you play, the more you play without getting adequate rest in between, it's only gonna cause more stress. And it only seems like how much can the Knicks sustain playing full games, whether it's Hart or DiVincenzo or Brunson or Achua or Hartenstein, whoever it may be. And they're running out of numbers of players in the rotation. So that's something, if the Pacers keep playing at a high pace, I feel like that maybe they'll just outman them. I don't know. It might just happen like that. But I still don't think the Knicks are out of it or anything like that because of that. Because obviously they competed till the end last game. They've been close in almost all their games, the whole playoffs. But if you're the Pacers, you also got to look at what they've done so far. The Knicks, they've won 6 games in this postseason. They're 6-3 overall, but they haven't won a game by double digits at all, against Philly or against them. So I feel like it's just the little things they could do a little bit better. They could have done a few better things at the end of game 1 and game 2. Now, game 1, we already know it was kind of sus, with the refs and stuff like that. But granted, there are some things they could have still done better. Game 2, though, was kind of just on them. I mean, they got chances. They couldn't hit free throws. You're not going to win if you don't hit free throws in the fourth quarter. So I don't know. I think the game 4, like, I mean, Indiana, like, always a big crowd, so the crowd will be behind them, but I think they have to make the most of that game specifically. Definitely have to get it to 2-2, and then we'll see what happens. I mean, like, OG Anunoby is hurt, so if he came back in game 5, is he going to be limited? How's that going to affect everyone else's rotation? Like, so I don't know. And I think, like, for the Pacers, like, they just got to keep, like, moving the ball and stop standing around. Like, sometimes, like, when they just, like, stand around and hold the ball for, like, late in the play, like, then it leads like a 7-second like isolation or something like that. Like, it's just horrible. You know, like, it doesn't look like the best offense in the league, which is what they were this season. So, like, they got to move the ball. And I think they were doing that parts of the last game. Down the stretch of the other 2 games, they really were not. So, even last game, I will say, like, at the end, they weren't doing it to a high degree. I mean, even that Nembhard shot, Halliburton just dribbled. Like, near the end, he passed it to Nembhard, and it was quite the bailout. So
they got bailed out. And that's another thing I was gonna say, that, like, and I wrote this on my notes from game 3. It's like the Pacers won, bro, but, like, and I don't know who you got in the series. I have the Knicks in the series, to be honest, but, like, okay, so, like, because to me, it's like the Pacers, bro, like, they were playing very well in that game 3. Like, they played great defense. They controlled the tempo in the first half. Aaron Nesmith was like all over Brunson, didn't give him any space. But it's like they made so many mistakes, bro, that not only, like, what you talk about the offense and, like, just dribble trying to get a good bucket, but, like, Donte DiVincenzo, bro, he was on fire, bro. Man had like 35 points. He had like 7 3-pointers, and the Pacers still were not, like, doubling, still were not, like, denying. Like, they were just making so many little decisions that I think in the long term is gonna cost them the game. I think it's gonna they're not gonna be able to get there. You know what I'm saying? Because like, you can't be in a playoff series, and I understand that Jalen Brunson is the key, the person that you want to be honing in on. But if Donte DiVincenzo is going off that game, you cannot just sit there and let him get open 3-pointers when he's already hit like 5 or 6 and not close out, not deny him the ball, not double. And then like how you said, right? Like how you said, bro, shout out Andrew Nembhard. But I'm going to be honest. If he shot that ball 10 other times, I don't know how many more times. I don't know how many more times it's going in. He got,
especially since he wasn't hitting like anything. Like, he scored his first points of the game like less than a minute before that.
That was the longest 3-pointer Bros ever hit in his playoff career. Like, you know what I'm saying? So to me, all I'm saying is that I think the Pacers are playing well. I like to see the Pacers. You know, they're a fun team to watch on TV. But at the end of the day, bro, they're making so many little mistakes, even when they're winning, that I think these little mistakes are going to end up catching up to them. And I think eventually the better team is going to win. But and Antoine Albert does not agree. He says Indiana in 7. NY is playing around too much, too many.
I will
playing guys
say,
too many
like,
minutes. Okay,
I do want the Pacers to win this series. I just don't think they will. But the thing is, like, and they could, like, they don't need to, like, win all 4 in a row, because that's not really feasible. But, like, they gotta, or not, I wouldn't say not feasible, but, like, it's probably not pretty likely. I mean, they couldn't even do it against the Bucks, and they were missing like Dame and Giannis. Like, they won 3 and then had an absolute stinker. So I think for them, it's like, you got to win this next game, for even the series. So you won back-to-back games. Then you lose, like, probably more than likely in New York in game 5. It's like, okay, well, we just need to win back-to-back games. We just did that, except this time we got to win 1 on the road. But you take it 1 game at a time, you get it to 3-3, and at game 7, really anything could happen, you know?
Absolutely, man. All right, Garrett. Well, look, before we get out of here, we've been on the live for an hour and 30. Appreciate everybody, all 20 plus people that are in here. Make sure you guys show some love to the Lakers Fast Break page. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Come check out my page. I got Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and show some love to my guy Garrett's page, Super Mario Hoops 24. Great NBA content. But Garrett, before we get out of here, we've talked about every series, but I need to get your prediction for every series. So you don't got to get into explaining it why, but I want you to let me know who's moving forward in every series. And we're going to start with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Nuggets. Who's moving forward in that series?
I'm going to go with the Nuggets in 6. That might seem crazy because that's 4 straight wins. And like I just said, it's maybe not feasible, but like if they get 2-2, I feel like it's going to demoralize the Wolves. The Nuggets won't lose in Denver in Game 5. And I feel like Game 6 is just going to be ugly for the Timberwolves. Though.
Okay. I'm gonna stand on my guts, and I'm gonna stand on business, and I'm gonna say Nuggets in 7. I still think that this is going 7 no matter what, but I do think Nuggets going to be able to pull it out. Let's stay in the West. Oklahoma City Thunder versus Dallas Mavericks. Who you got advancing, Garrett?
I think this one probably will go 7 because it's a lot of unpredictability with, I think mostly with Luka's health and of course now with Jalen Williams' health. But I do think Dallas will win. Originally, like I think I did have these two matching up before the playoffs started. I think I had Dallas in like 6 or 5, but I think just off what I've seen right now, it's like a little bit too up in the air. I'm gonna say 7, and Dallas wins.
Okay, I am right there in agreement with you, brother. I also think this is gonna go 7. We got 2 MVPs going at it, but I do think that the experience of the Dallas Mavericks and on top of their role players are stepping up huge, helping them steal a game in OKC was huge and game changing for the series. So that means that in the conference finals, we'll have from both me and Garrett, we have Nuggets and Thunder. Let's jump over to the East.
You mean Mavs?
I mean, sorry, yeah, Thunder and Mavs. Let's jump over to the East. Celtics and Cavs. Who you got winning that series?
Cavs in 6.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay. All right. Hey, if you guys
listen, I'm gonna just say everyone's counting them out. You like, and yeah, the Celtics should still be favored, but don't make it seem like this is like some easygoing type of series. Like the Celtics,
it won't be easy going. It won't be easy going, but brother, that's I mean, hey, but I respect it.
I've seen Joe Mazzulla completely fold against certain teams. It takes so long to make the adjustments. So I don't know if he's made the adjustments today, but I think it's going to be a good indicator to find out if he has or not, at least to some degree. And if the Cavs win by the same way, man, it's not going to look good for Boston.
Let's see, man. I respect it. I hear what you're saying. I personally am still going Celtics in 6, to be honest with you. But okay, let's keep pushing to the last series that we have here, and that is the Pacers and Knicks. We got into that earlier, but who do you have advancing between the Pacers and the Knicks?
I got the Pacers losing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool to see the Pacers. I mean, maybe, I don't know. They go, depending on how far they go, maybe might have to make my way to a game or something like that. I don't know. But the point is, I just don't think. I feel like they're too young, and they're probably gonna sell. Like I bet in a Game 7, Siakam might actually play good, because he's at least had a little bit of experience like that. But I don't know. I don't think it'll be enough.
Yeah, I hear you. I think they're making too many mistakes, even on these games that they're winning. The mistakes are going to end up catching up to them, and I think that the better team will end up winning the series. Now we're not going to get into our conference finals predictions just because we don't know if this is even going to happen or not. So,
the one thing I will say is if we did get round 3 of Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson, I think the world needs round 3. Things might be different this time. That's all I'm going to say. They might be different.
Man, oh man. Hey, I just want the Celtics to win because I want my bracket to remain my $1 million NBA bracket, man. So hopefully that remains.
That's fair, actually.
But anyway, man, everybody that's tuned in, man, we've been here for an hour 30 plus. Appreciate all you guys, man. You guys have been locked in on the chat, showing love. I appreciate that. We will definitely be back doing some doing just some more NBA playoff talk, whether it's about the Lakers, whether it's about what's currently going on in the NBA. We even got into some baseball and some football in this live stream, man. So Hope you guys enjoyed. As always, make sure you guys show love to all the pages. Lakers Fast Break. Make sure you guys show love to Clutch Talk, is my NBA talk show. Dropping 2 episodes per week on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Also, Lakers Corner, that is on YouTube. Also, my guy Garrett, great NBA content creator, also on YouTube. Super Mario Hoops 24. Make sure you guys go check him out. Sean, appreciate you showing love. And make sure you guys show love to Lakers Girl 36. She said, I'll talk Lakers too on my Lakers channel. Man, go show love. Lakers Girl 36. But for now, we out of here, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this Cavs versus Celtics game. And for now, we out of here, y'all. Peace.
Cavs and 6.